Hi, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. It's me, Language Bay, and you're now rocking with the best. And today we're here with Samy.
Hello.
Yay! First and foremost, thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Yay! I'm so excited. So, tell us about yourself. Where are you located and what's your heritage?
Okay, so I am actually currently back in the US. I was in China for the last year.
Mm-hmm.
I'm back in the US because of obviously with everything going on. So I came back for a wedding and I got trapped here. So that's why I'm here. But my heritage is I was actually born in the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is located in Central Africa.
Okay. Okay, so I have a question because I have a friend. It's so funny because she's actually from France, but she was living in China too.
Mm-hmm.
And so in January, when the stuff kind of hit the fan and it started spreading real bad in Wuhan, or however you pronounce it, if I'm not saying it right, probably, but
Wuhan. Okay.
Wuhan, I don't know any Chinese. I know ni hao and that's it. That's it. And but so she got kind of scared and was like, "Oh my God, I don't want to be here." And I
Mhm.
think like the end of like I think probably like February, she just was like, "I'm out. I'm out." And she went back to France. Only for France to be on lockdown because
Yeah.
they were like the highest. So I
Mm-hmm.
say all that to say, like, did you? Because you said you came here for a wedding, got trapped, so you never really felt like, oh, let me leave. You were okay with, okay.
I was okay with staying because I just knew that with things there's always ebbs and flows. So
Mm-hmm.
obviously if we were the first ones to get hit with it over time with, public health and proper precautions, the numbers will start to shift. So I was not concerned. I was concerned for other aspects of it, like a paycheck. So that was,
Right.
that was my main thing.
Mm-hmm.
It was not like my safety because, like I said, China had a good job in terms of like putting things, preventative measures in place and
Mm-hmm.
locking it down for real, locking it down. So that wasn't, for me, that wasn't an issue. Had
Mm-hmm.
I'd say this to say, if the wedding hadn't happened, I probably still would. I wouldn't say probably. I would still be there.
Right.
So
Okay. Okay.
that's kind of how that happened.
Okay. And then sorry, my list of questions went
That's all right.
All right, so that's good to know. And so, what are your native languages or native language?
Okay, so my parents come from in Congo. There's so many tribes, but there's four main ones. My parents come from one of the main ones, the Baluba tribe, and their native tongue is Chiluba. So my parents speak that. I don't speak it. I know like little words here and there. And then you have the what they call the lingua franca of Congo is, Swahili and Lingala. Lingala is a language I came around, I, grew up knowing and speaking, and then obviously English. And then the official language of Congo is French. So I know a lot of French. My French speaking is like, ça dépend la situation,
Mhm.
So it's there. And then, yeah, those are like the surrounding like the Congo. That would be the languages that I grew up around, were influenced by, and heard speaking quite a lot.
Okay, so English, Lingala, and French are the languages you grew up with. Okay, good to know. Good to
Mm-hmm.
know. All right, and then so tell me more about what you do professionally. You say you were in China, and then also if you have anything that you do like another business besides what you were doing in China.
Okay, so I was actually teaching English in China.
Mm-hmm.
I was teaching English to, they call it kindergarten, but here in America we'll call it like preschool age. So from anywhere from the ages of like 3 to 6 is the ages I was teaching. So I was teaching English. Prior to that, I was a preschool teacher. So kind of in the education realm, I was in the space of trying to figure out what it is I wanted to do professionally. I graduated back in 2013, and I guess was just trying to find something that not only I liked, obviously paid well, and would be I can do it for a long period of time.
Right.
So with that, I don't have I have my podcast that I started because I was living in China. So I have a podcast. So that's my baby for right now.
Okay. So tell us about, well, before we go to the podcast, tell us a little bit about your education, because you mentioned you had graduated.
Okay, so I graduated from IU South Bend back in 2013 with a bachelor's in political science. The plan was
Okay.
to law school,
Uh-huh.
study for the that's all that fun stuff. And I was like, no. Early back in school for my master's for international relations and diplomacy. That was because I was able to, while being in China, I got to mix and mingle with a lot of different people.
Hmm.
And I was able to just be re-inspired again. And that made me want to go back to school, kind of get this degree and put some things into motion of where my trajectory with my career is.
Okay. Yeah, it's so funny. I wanted to do political science too. I was told I wanted to when I was little. I wanted to be a lawyer. I was told that I should be a lawyer, even though I wanted to do that. And then I started to like computers. So then I wanted to do computers. I didn't even do either. Well, now I am in my master's. I'm doing like a kind of a, but I'm saying all that to say I'm really like, political science, because I wanted to do that too. I just thought that was so cool. But you know, things happen, life happens. It always takes you somewhere you never really expect.
True, true, true,
So
true.
so how are you liking it in China though? Like you say you were there for a year. I'm taking it that you liked it pretty well.
I did. I actually enjoyed it. Like China was that country that I first, for one, very frank, didn't think I would ever live there. I've always been, oh, I live in Canada, or I live in France, or I
Yeah.
live, like, or even go back to Congo. Like I was never like, oh, China. Mm-mm. China was that country that we knew enough about, but not a lot
Right.
in the same sense. So I went there very excited, nervous, very apprehensive,
Hmm.
because it was like I did a lot of research prior to going, but I still was like, I don't really know. But I actually really I really didn't do enjoy my time there. The plan was to be there for at least anywhere from 3 to 5 years.
Hmm.
But hopefully by the time I go back, I can, you know, keep that promise to myself. But I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I made a good group of friends. I, got to travel, got to see some things, and it was just like it was great. It was definitely a
Yeah.
great opportunity, for sure.
Okay. And then where did you say you located in the US right now?
I'm in Indiana. That's actually where I did most of my upbringing. Like I lived in South Bend, so if you have any
Hmm.
like Notre Dame fans, like I'm like 5 minutes away from Notre Dame.
Okay.
And then I moved to Indianapolis, which is where I lived for like 4 years. And then I went
Uh-huh.
back up to South Bend shortly before I left for China. So, but now I'm back in Bloomington, which is like 30-ish minutes away from Indianapolis.
Yeah, only reason I know of Bloomington is because I used to work for Airtran Airways and we had an airport in Bloomington.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we used to serve. That's the only reason I know anything about Bloomington.
Yeah. So my alma mater is IU Bloomington. Well, I went to the sub campus. So it's like the main campus is here.
Okay, good to know. Okay. So the podcast. That's right. Tell us about the podcast.
So the podcast is called What's the Chinese Tea? And for those of you guys who know, one of the main things in Chinese culture is drinking tea.
Hmm.
And us Black people, we have made drinking tea like a gossip session. Like, what's sis?
Yeah,
What's the tea? Tea, sis, spill some
yeah.
tea. So I kind of try to incorporate the Chinese culture with Black culture, and that's how I actually came up with the name. So it's just essentially documenting my time there, some things that I've encountered, questions that I get all the time on like my Facebook or my Instagram about living in China, being a Black expatriate, going to China, what is it like teaching and things like that. So I just decided to like make a podcast because why not? And to be quite frank, I'm really lazy to do a YouTube channel. So the podcast was like a nice happy
Listen, you preaching to the choir. I only just started getting like consistently active on my YouTube this year. Yeah. And so the thing is, I started a podcast too because I was like, listen, I can do the podcast because I can wake up in the morning and do the podcast. I don't have to do my face. I don't have to make sure my backdrop is, I don't have to do that. But now that I'm doing the YouTube, it's like, well, I don't really want to do the podcast.
Exactly. If I did a YouTube, I think it would be more so for the visual aspect. But then I was like, I have Instagram for that. I have Snapchat for that. If you guys want to see pictures or videos, to just sit there and edit. And it's just like, listen, I don't have the time.
Right. I don't edit anything. On my podcast, I don't even edit. I done told them on the first episode, I said, listen, if you're looking for the bells and the whistles, this is not it. You're going to hear me stutter a little bit. You're going to hear me make a mistake. I'm not editing. I don't have the time. Like even in the videos, I don't have the time.
Yeah, I just edit it more for like, I put like my intro and the outro and put my little, things in there, and I might edit a thing or two if I really didn't want to say that, but I just edited it and stuff like that. But like, I don't like how YouTubers really spend time editing. No.
I also don't, I'm not doing that. And then it costs money because that's something I'd have to outsource because I don't even know how to do that anyway. Like I can edit like a little short video because like I have my sister's friend, she's a what you call a beauty blogger, which I was doing that for a little while too, but I gave that up. So she showed me like the iMovie because I have a Mac.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And I tried that and I edited a video and it's like, okay, it's cool, but I don't want to do that.
I hear you. I understand.
So I'm going to put for everybody, I'm going to put the link, the information for your podcast in the description bar so that way they can go listen to it. And I'm going to listen to it too this weekend. So, that way you can
check it out.
Yes, it sounds interesting. What's the Chinese tea? I like the double entendre there because I'm the queen of speaking cryptic and double and triple entendres. I love it. I really love it. I think that's creative. What's the Chinese tea? I like it. Thank you. All right, so that was the B side of the mixtape. Now we're gonna get to the A side of the mixtape, and we're gonna talk about your language learning journey. Yes. This is the quality content they signed up for, so I'm going to give it to them.
Let's go.
All right, so the first question I wanted to ask, first, what are the languages you know in total? You said Lingala, French, English,
Spanish.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 I know, and then currently I'm focusing on Mandarin and Japanese right now.
Mandarin and Japanese.
Yes.
But the kanji, I guess the kanji will help you because I want to learn Japanese too, but ain't nobody send me no Excedrin because I told them. I don't know if you were at the Sisters Only Language Summit that we had a couple weekends ago, but it was like for Black women. It was a language summit online for Black women. Were you there?
I didn't get to go, but
it's okay. We're gonna have another one. Don't worry.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so we want to do more because it's like you go to these language events and then it's like you're the only Black person there, or there's only 2 Black people there, and it's just like, okay, So this was just like over 60 Black women were in attendance on Zoom.
I love it.
It was great. We took a little class picture at the end, so it was like a screenshot of everybody who was there. So that was cool. But yeah, they were talking about because LaDonna from Discovering Languages, she did a presentation on East Asian languages and
Mm-hmm.
learning the language because of the culture or through the culture. So she knows Korean and Mandarin and Japanese. And so I was like, I want to learn Japanese. And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, yes, do it. And I'm just like, who gonna bring me to Excedrin though? Who's sending me Excedrin to Germany so that I can get started on this Japanese? Because 3 writing systems,
Hiragana, katakana, kanji. Yep.
that's the only thing that I was like, it might be worth it, the kanji, because I was like, because it has characters, like Chinese characters. I said,
Mm-hmm.
that might make it worth it because I feel like if I start learning Japanese and then
Right.
I feel like I will eventually segue into Mandarin. I feel like that's what will happen.
Mm-hmm.
So, how far along are you with the Japanese?
I'm not that far along. I'm just getting kind of familiar with hiragana, katakana, kanji.
Mhm.
Um, the kanji, like I said, because I'm learning Mandarin, like Mandarin right now is like my focus. Like
Mhm.
Japanese is on like the back burner right now. So Chinese is like my forward. You know, this is what I'm doing right now. This is what I'm focusing. When I have the time, I dabble in Japanese. So Arabic will next be on the list, but we gonna wait. We gonna wait.
Oh my God. You know what? I know a little bit of Arabic. I don't know that much. My name is actually Arabic. A lot of people don't be knowing that.
The
Just
Dia, yeah, I knew that. Yeah, I was like, oh,
yeah.
she's so that's a
Yeah.
pretty name.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, so a lot of people don't know that. They just I don't know what they think, but they don't know. I've had Indian because I know it's a word in Hindi, Shahida, I know, but it means something slightly different. Because I've
Okay.
had Indians say like, "Oh, are you Indian?" And I'm like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, because it means this." And I'm like, "No, it's Arabic." So, but yeah, I know a little bit of Arabic. I forgot. I don't remember because I used to live in Atlanta
Okay.
and the mosque, it's just a huge mosque. They had a couple in Atlanta, but they had like the Atlanta Masjid, the really big one, but that one was like mostly full of black people, black Muslims. And
Okay.
then they had another mosque. That one was real pretty. I didn't go inside that one because that one, I'm not gonna lie, I felt a little intimidated because I don't think it was like really black Muslims. I think those were like Muslims from other countries, like
Mm-hmm.
Middle East. And I always
Okay.
feel a little iffy because they kind of judgmental. They always love to say I'm not Muslim. Like I mean, I have my family, but I don't like that. They always love to be like, "Oh, you're not a real Muslim," and it's like, who are
Mm-hmm.
you to judge? Don't you know what? And then you know what my thing is when they say that, I be like, "And you not a real American, so now we even." You know?
Aw.
I'm just saying, if we gonna call out names here, like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
I
either,
hear you.
So, but anyway, I was calling myself learning Arabic because they have free Arabic lessons, so that way, you can read the Quran.
Ron. Okay. That's cool.
Yeah, so normally they do. Normally um the big mosques usually have that, especially if it's like it's like black Muslims in that mosque. Usually they will
Okay.
have that.
Interesting.
I don't remember. I don't remember what dialect they was teaching us. I know that I remember an Egyptian
Mm.
dialect, but I don't remember. Who knows? But yeah, I would love to learn Arabic too.
See, the love of the languages. This is why we're here.
It's so funny? I love belly dancing. Like I've been loving belly dancing for years. Like I have hip scarves, everything. I have veils. It's crazy. And I have like and I have like a whole playlist, like loads of stuff, songs from like Morocco, Egypt, Turkey, wherever.
Okay.
And it's so funny because it's like I can sing the songs, I just don't know really what they mean.
Hey, there's a start. There's
So I don't
you gotta
know.
you
So
gotta
are you
start somewhere.
interested in any of like do you listen to the languages of I mean the languages. Do you listen to the music of the languages that you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like I listen to so for my like Congolese side. Like I
Mhm.
literally listen to all things Congolese music. Like you will come in my kitchen, you'll come in my house, you'll hear like Fali Pupa, Kofi Olomide, Mali du System. You'll hear Bia Bel, Chalamwana. Like you'll hear that, like for sure. Like I don't listen to enough. When I was younger, I listened to a lot of Spanish music or
Mhm.
Spanish speaking music, I should say, because obviously we got to make a differentiation here. I did, but not as much now. Um, and then now with me learning Mandarin, I've been watching a lot of Mandarin TV shows, and
Mhm.
I've been hearing like, so during like they have a soundtrack. So if there's a show that I really really like, was like, oh my gosh, and then I hear some of the music to it, I will Shazam it because my phone is right next to me. I'll Shazam it, and because I have a Chinese phone, so it'll be able to read better than my American phone. So I'll Shazam it, save it, and
Mhm.
then I will like listen to it just repetitively just to kind of hear some of the things, because if you've been to China, they have this like almost like kid vibe.
Okay.
So everything is very like pop, 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 very like bubble
Okay.
gum. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's very like
So like
bubble.
Hello Kitty-ish?
Yes, like
Okay,
Hello
okay,
Kitty.
okay.
Yeah, very Hello Kitty, Disney, um, Lego, kind of all mixed into one. Everything is like, "Ah, oh my god, ah," but it's in Mandarin. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay.
So it's easier because I can kind of get bubblegumish. So it's like, okay, I can listen to it. It's not too, and they have really pretty like love melodies and some really nice like to me, if the melody is nice, I'm more intrigued to listen to it rather
Okay.
than not. So if the melody, like, oh, I will remember like, oh, I might not understand it just yet, but we'll get there.
It's coming. It's
It's
coming. I
coming.
see it.
Mhm.
Oh my goodness. All right. So the next question I wanted to know is what were some opportunities you were able to take advantage of because of the languages that you already know?
Well, I, for one, because like literally because Mandarin is on my resume. Because listen, 2020, we finessing the resume, okay?
Right?
we're
Right.
we're finessing the resume. So just literally because it's on my resume, I've been having like people hit me up, and then obviously I've gotten opportunities such as this one. I'm on Language Bay Channel. Um,
Oh my gosh.
So, and then just being able to, get in different spaces that I probably wouldn't have if I didn't have that language asset,
Mhm.
um, has just put me in different rooms, and people put me to higher esteem, even with me teaching English, because they know I'm multilingual. Outside of that, they want to put me in different rooms, and they were like, oh, she does this and she does this and she does that, she does that.
Right,
Or
right.
on this conversation, or things like that. So I think languages have helped me in a way,
Mhm.
and they automatically, which is fine because I feel like it takes a special kind of aptitude to learn languages,
Mhm.
and so they would just automatically think you're smarter, which is nice.
Yeah, I know.
Right, but yeah, no, they'll call on you to be almost like an expert. So I feel like I've been able to move and maneuver within different rooms just because of having that language aptitude. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So, um, I'm sorry. My
I'm like,
next
you okay?
question. Yeah, no, because I was thinking, because I wanted to ask you something, but then it went out my head, and I was trying to
Okay.
remember it, and then I said, let me just go to the next question.
Okay.
Sorry about that. That happens. Like sometimes, I'll be like, "Oh, I wanted to ask a question about that, but it went out my head."
I know, I
Um,
understand.
so okay, what languages do you use any languages presently besides English, I mean?
I mean, more like I have to talk to my employer, so I have to use some Mandarin because she speaks literally zero. Like her English is like,
Oh, wow.
yeah. So I have to communicate with her. So I have to use my Mandarin is not all the way there, but it's enough for her to understand what it is I'm trying to communicate with. So I use it
Mhm.
that way.
Mhm.
Obviously, French is, being around my Congolese friends and family, French and Lingala is spoken. So that's
Mhm.
when I use that. And Spanish, before I moved away, I was working in
Mhm.
a very predominantly Spanish speaking place. So the people I worked with didn't speak English. So I was the one having to communicate with them in Spanish because they didn't understand what was needing to be done, and no one could communicate what needed to be done. So I was kind of like that liaison to be able to like, oh, da 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 da. So yeah, presently, yeah, more so like I think more so Mandarin, just because like when I go back to China, like that would literally be 80% of what I'm going to be speaking in is in Mandarin.
Mhm.
And the other 20 is probably English.
Okay, that's amazing.
It's hard.
I bet it is, but it's still so cool. Like I always get so whenever I see a black person speaking Mandarin or speaking Japanese, speaking Korean, speaking um Hebrew, speaking Farsi, I'm just like, oh my gosh, hashtag black girl magic, hashtag black excellence, hashtag black boy joy if it's a black man, you know? So I think it's so cool that you talking to your employer in Chinese or Mandarin.
It's a struggle. It's
Um,
a struggle.
just out of curiosity, I don't know if you know, but is there like a huge difference between Cantonese and Mandarin?
You know what? I can't even answer that because I don't know any. I know one girl that speaks Cantonese, and from what she said, it's similar. There might be some nuances here and there, but I could not be sure. I could
Mm-hmm.
not be sure. I haven't heard. The only differences in Mandarin is obviously like accent and dialect. Like each province, like how China does it is, China has provinces. It's kind of the equivalent to like having states.
Mm-hmm.
So each province has like their dialect per se.
Mm-hmm.
So it might not necessarily be Mandarin, it might be whatever local dialect that they speak mixed with Mandarin. So they might not be able to, like the province I lived in, their dialect, I was like, oh, okay. Oh, all right. And on top of like you add the accent, it's just like we literally ting boo dong. Like I don't
Oh
understand
my
you.
goodness.
But they obviously know
Mm-hmm.
Mandarin.
Right,
But
right,
if they obviously are talking amongst
right.
each other, just like in English, if you're from the South, there's that Southern accent.
Right,
Come up north and you both you both speak English, but it's like,
right. Oh, I know. That was me. When I moved to my mom had got stationed in Fort Stewart, Georgia, and we from New York. And let me tell you,
yeah.
we had some neighbors because we lived off post. We had some neighbors. There was one guy, I think he was from not Jacksonville. Was it Fayetteville? It was, I don't know where it was. It was not Fayetteville, like wasn't Fayetteville, Georgia, and it wasn't Fayetteville, North Carolina. It was somewhere that's in Florida. Because we weren't that
Okay.
far away from Florida. Something Fayetteville or something, I don't know. Anyway, he was from there. And I never understood what he was saying. Like never understood what he was saying.
Mm-hmm.
He was like Boomhauer from King of the Hill. I don't know if you saw that show. For
Yeah.
real. Like he'd be talking. I'd be like, can you say that again? And I'm like, can you say that one more time? And then if I didn't understand by the third time, I just said, just like that. Because I was like, I'm not gonna keep asking him to say the same thing because after a while it's annoying for him, I'm sure.
Right.
So I get what you're saying on that because when you from up north and you go down south to like close like where Florida, Orlando, stuff like that, Alabama, Mississippi, people
Yeah.
start talking. You like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Even
don't get me wrong.
even if
You,
you go out east, like
mhm.
Jersey, New York, it's like, ooh, baby, what?
I don't know because I'm from Brooklyn, so for me, I feel like we speak clearly. She looking like no.
Coffee? Can I get a cup of coffee? Like,
Oh my god! Yes.
door knocking heel hoops. You know, I love it. Listen, I wish I was from like Jersey, New York. Listen, I just need to speak like I'm from New York. I'm from the Bronx, you know.
Yeah,
Bomb
no,
City.
I don't know. It's so weird for me because like that's where I'm from. So to me, I feel like we speak clearly. I feel like people from up north speak clearly. Like for instance, I feel like people like you from Connecticut, you from, it's right there. My sister lives in Connecticut. It's like 45 minutes from the Bronx. Um, you from Connecticut, you from New York, you from PA, you from, Boston, you from
Oh, Boston
Maine.
has its own accent too.
I know I gotta park the car. But I mean, I feel like they speak clearly though, but it's so funny. I gotta park the car. That's so funny to me. If there's any Bostonians listening to this, watching this, please don't be
We
offended.
have love for you.
We
We
love
just don't.
you.
I don't have love for your teams, but we have love for you.
Ah!
Okay.
Okay, I'm out of that one. Just I didn't have nothing to say. That's a disclaimer. Black girls learn languages does not agree with or endorse this opinion. I
Okay.
don't know. I don't know nothing about sports anyway. I'm just kind of like a I just watch when it's popular. Like for instance, when the World Cup is going on or Copa or something, then I'll
Mm-hmm.
go and watch soccer. If there's the Super Bowl, which I didn't watch this year, all my coworkers here, they're like, "Did you watch the Super Bowl?" I'm like, "Nah," because that was 3 o'clock in the morning over here. I was good
Yeah.
in sleep.
Yep.
But
Exactly.
no. But yeah, so as far as the teams go, I don't really know enough to be bashing teams anyway. So that's why I put that disclaimer there because
I hear you. I hear
I
you.
don't
We
I
won't.
don't want to get collateral damage. But yeah, so okay, cool. That's good to know. And so as far as the language, any of the languages, it doesn't really matter. Did you ever have a problem with the language where like you felt shy to speak? And if
Yeah.
so, like how did you deal with that?
Okay. So even speaking like French or Lingala, like those so my family would say I have like an English accent,
Mm-hmm.
or um I just got nervous, and my boyfriend is like, when I mean fully fluent in French. So when I sometimes I'm just like, I get nervous, just like, even if I want to say something in French, like when we have our little like banter, even if I want to say something in French, I'm like, I just automatically retreat to like I'm 16. I was like, I'm not doing it. And
Mm-hmm.
he'll like, well, just say it. And I was like, I say it like, and he's like, I can't hear you. So like I
God.
was literally like, I was so shy because I was afraid of like making mistakes, and you don't want to make mistakes in front of like native speakers. And even when I speak
Mm-hmm.
Mandarin, I'm just like, I literally am like, okay. But I think over time what has helped me is that, not necessarily like people who are native, but I think people who are trying to learn, you're going to have your accent depending on wherever you are in the world. You're going to have your accent, and having an accent is not necessarily a bad thing, because it just shows that, one, you obviously are intelligent, in a sense of, you obviously speak more than one language in order for you to have that like an accent per se. So I think that nuance, or that, gave me a little confidence in just saying that everyone started from something. Everyone started from like literally knowing zero of whatever
Right.
language it is. So it's like, okay, I can't expect to be perfect. I can't expect to be like just out here like, what should like, no. If I speak with an English accent, oh well. And I teach kids who speak Chinese to speak English, and that's one of their main things, is lacking confidence to speak, because the Chinese people they're just shy. So I have to encourage 3 to 6 year olds to say, it's okay, you can come up to me and ask me, even if it's very silly, like, what is your favorite color? That might be to an adult, or that might be like, oh, that's such a lame question, right? But if it's like, if that's all you know, and you just want to practice how you say it, hey, that's okay. You know what I'm saying?
Right,
And then
right.
if I allow the space for you to say, okay, that's not quite how you say it, but we're going to keep working on it, then that's, so I had to take some of those tools I was teaching my kids to be able
Mm-hmm.
to say, okay, listen, if these 3-year-olds can come up to me with no care in the world,
Mm-hmm.
I think I'll be fine. You know, even if I make a mistake, mistakes are common in language learning, and that's okay. So yeah, just having confidence helps for sure. I think that's the one part about language learning no one really talks about. No one like, obviously there's so many resources online and different ways you can learn a language, but no one talks about the confidence piece of learning,
Right,
which I think takes up a lot of more than
right.
like, you know, your online resources or immersion programs or whatever. It's like you can have all of this at your fingertips, but if you do not have the confidence to speak, it literally means nothing.
Right, exactly.
So
That's
yeah.
so crazy. I talked about that in my live today on Instagram, and also I think I did a live yesterday or whatever, and I kind of talked about that too. I talked about I'm actually gonna do one of my videos on building the confidence to speak.
Mhm.
So it's very interesting you say that. Okay, good. I'll make that. I'll put that on my list to be my next video.
Hey.
Hey. um, and then okay, with each of the languages, what would you say was your hardest struggle with each of the languages?
Well, I will start. Mandarin is it's the alphabet
Mm-hmm.
and the writing system. So I'll start
Mm-hmm.
there. Um,
Okay.
so the French, English, and Lingala is mainly grammar.
Okay.
Um, I sucked at grammar in school, so that was so I struggled with that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but mainly, yeah, that was mainly, I would say with most of my languages, grammar just was not, because as you know, in English, if you want to say I use this example all the time, the White House, right? In French, it's not the White House, it's the house white, right?
Right.
And so I have to just constantly, because I will literally say la maison blanche, and it's like they just look at me, and then I have to remember feminine, masculine, right? In English, it's just whatever.
The.
Exactly. There's no possessive adjective type of thing. Whereas in, you know, French and Spanish, you have to like remember, okay, maison is feminine, so I have to make sure I use the feminine version of white and yeah.
Right. Yeah,
So
and then oh, go
that
ahead. Sorry.
that always trips me up a lot. It's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that trips me up for Spanish, especially because there's like exceptions to the rule. Like for instance, you could say buen día or un gran día. So you can say gran before día, but
Mm-hmm.
then if you wanna, you have to put the other adjective after.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you're killing me, Smalls. Like
Exactly. And it's just like, and then you're thinking, do you use this in real life? And then it's just like, well, if you speak to a native, they might not think of, like, for us who are trying to learn the language, we're cognizant of that. And I just always wondered, as a native, when you talk, do you in your head, like, do you just do the math like that? Like, or it just is a natural thing where it's like, oh yeah, you know that maison is feminine, so when you talk, you're going to say, you know, everything feminine preceding or proceeding maison. So it's just like, okay, that's fine. Whatever.
Yeah, I think they just know because, like I say on my lives and my videos, I learned German through like natural language acquisition. I didn't learn it in school, so I learned it the same way you learn your native language. I will like immerse myself, and basically I learned by listening. So I just it just like kids, like babies, they don't know anything. They just come
Mm-hmm.
into the world hearing the language every day, and then they start to pick up First word they know is no, no. They hear it all the time. No, 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 no. They learn that real quick. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so I would ask questions like, wait a minute, what does this word mean? What does that word mean? Because I would keep hearing words when I'm
Mm-hmm.
watching TV, listening to the radio. What does that mean? What does that mean? So because I learned it through natural acquisition, there are certain things that I don't have to do the math. I just know to be like,
Mm-hmm.
it's just intuitive. So that's why I say with native speakers, it's probably intuitive for them. Like they don't have to do the math. Like for us, it's lingual algebra for us. Like literally, it's lingual algebra for us. Um,
Literally.
but for them, it's like it's the same thing with them when they're like, but how do you gotta put it before? We put it after. Like
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
so they probably wonder the same thing with us, I
Yeah.
guess. I don't
Yeah.
know. So yeah, I could see that with French. I could definitely see that. And then with the Chinese characters, if I'm correct, they have like over 2,000 something characters, right?
Yeah. So not even like the regular Chinese folks know all of the characters.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. Because there's so many of them. There's I'm up to like 18 characters that I know just because I've seen those characters all the freaking time. Like I've seen them all the time, that I've memorized them. And because one of the benefits of me teaching is that as soon as I'm done teaching my class, I sit in my kids' Chinese class. So they're learning, so in Chinese you have pinyin. Pinyin is the romanization. So like using the Roman alphabet to spell the characters out. So, for example, if I give you the word for eyes, wo, you will spell it W-O. That's the pinyin in third tone.
Okay. Okay.
So that's the pinyin. If you see Roman alphabet, that is pinyin. That is the English or romanization of the character. So you see the character, usually you see the character, and then you see the pinyin right above it. But that's not always the case. You're not going to always see pinyin. So when they
Right.
teach the kids, they teach the kids by character. They don't teach it, oh, we're going to teach you pinyin, and then you're going to learn characters. No, they learn straight characters. So because I sat in classes with my kids, that's how I learned several characters, is because they would memorize. Like every day they'll give them like 5 characters to memorize. And they will say, Samy Lao Shi, come sit with us. And I'll sit with them, help them memorize the characters and what those characters mean. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, howda.
Oh my gosh. Ooh, that sounds like a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Okay, I can see why that's a struggle. I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then you kind of already said how you learned the languages. And my one question, and I have another question. I have like 2 more questions. So the
Okay.
next question I have is, which one is your favorite language and why?
Oh man. Oh, I man. I think I would say Lingala for the simple fact of I love our music so much, especially
Mm-hmm.
like rumba. Rumba is like, I say Congo's like sexy R&B. It's very passionate, very sensual, and it's like I'm here for it. And it, like when they sing it like with a mixture of Lingala and French, and it just sounds really beautiful. Like it's
Mm-hmm.
just a beautiful language overall. So if
Mm-hmm.
I think that's why I would say Lingala, just because like because of my attachment to the Congolese music, and it's just like
Mm-hmm.
when I hear it, I'm just like, ah, très belle, ah, ah.
Oh, okay. All
Yes.
right, that's good to know. And then 3 tips that you gave a lot of tips actually, but what are the like top 3 tips that you would say you would want to give to someone else that helped you with the languages that you know?
3. First one is, if you can, listening helps. Listening is super, super key.
Mm-hmm.
So whether it's you watch movies in the target language, you watch shows, something obviously so if you speak English, right, I would say try to find a show or a movie equivalent to what it is you enjoy already watching in English, and try to listen to it in whatever your target language is. Try to make it. Learning languages doesn't have to be this daunting, boring thing. I like, even with your platform, there's not the rigorous of, you sit in class, you have a grammar book, you have a notebook, and
Right.
it's like there's so many different ways to learn languages now that it doesn't have to be boring, right?
Right.
So if you can, try to listen as much as you can, because I tell you what, some in that brain of yours does its magic, and you end up just regurgitating. Like, how my Mandarin pronunciation got really good is because I was just listening a lot, and I would repeat it. And the beauty of me living in China is I'm getting it straight from natives. I'm not sitting in a class and trying to learn it. These are my colleagues who speak little to no English, so I'm literally forced to like learn. This is like, okay, well, we had to rely on translators, and that was becoming increasingly frustrating. So it's like, okay, I got to learn, because this is going to start to get very annoying. So you end up, just because you've heard it, you might not know what it means, and that's okay. But the fact that you can say it, you're going to be able to say it, and you're going to be able to say it correctly. So if you can get your hands on anything audio, so music, TV shows, movies, radio, podcasts, anything audio, get your hands on. That'll be tip number 1. Tip number 2 is don't be afraid to make mistakes. Mistakes are just evidence that you were trying.
Right.
We get boggled down that we didn't do good on the test, or I mispronounced this word, or I didn't do the correct verb conjugation. Okay, that's okay. You made a mistake, correct it, and move on. Don't get boggled down with it, because then you miss the essence of learning the language. You miss the essence of just learning in general if you're so stuck on wanting to have 100% or get a good grade, or whatever it is your goal and ambition is into learning the language. And I would say tip number 3, and I think we all can agree to this,
Which is?
just have fun.
Yes! Oh my God! I think you're the first person that said that!
Just have fun. My God, it does not have to be so dang on serious. Just have some fun.
Yes.
Do some, it's literally like, it's okay. It's gonna be all right. Have fun. Enjoy the process. Because literally, I'm not even kidding. I looked at the video when I first got to China, and I was trying to count in Chinese. When I tell you, I was like, oh, baby, your pronunciation was all the way off. And then I look at videos now to like, I can count just fine. And I can now introduce myself. I can, ask for certain things. And I'm just like, now if I look at this video, say now, and then look again next year, it's like, oh, wow. Like, I've already seen the progression. And I was just like, and I literally was like, I just had fun. I was fortunate enough to be able to live in the country and learn kind of like natural, immersion, natural progression type of thing, just listening. And I just had fun. I was just like, listen, if I make a mistake, oh well.
Right.
I was like, E-R, like it just was so bad. I was like, oh, it was so cringe to hear it. I was like,
oh my gosh.
Yeah. I was saying my meats wrong, and I was like, baby, what were you doing?
Right.
But, I didn't give up. I didn't let that bother me. I didn't get upset or in my feelings about it. I just was like, I look back, I can laugh at it. I was like, oh, honey. But I had to start from somewhere. This is someone who had no background to Mandarin, didn't know anything besides ni hao. That was it. When I came into
that's me.
Literally ni hao. That's all I knew when I got onto Chinese soil was ni hao.
Oh my gosh.
you know.
You better than me. All I knew when I got on German soil was Gesundheit, and I didn't even know that was German.
I learned that in the 5th grade because my substitute teacher was German, and when I sneezed, he said Gesundheit. I was like, "What's that mean?" And he's like, "Bless you" in German. That stuck with me. That was like,
I didn't even know what it was. I just know people said it. Like, you know, when people sneeze, they say Gesundheit, but I didn't know what it actually meant. I didn't know it was German.
yeah. See, I literally knew ni hao.
Ni hao.
Ni hao.
Oh my
But you know
gosh.
what's funny though? Because there's people in China who've been in China 3-4 years and they can't get past ni hao. So it's
Wow, you really come a long way. You've
mm-hmm,
really come a long way.
mm-hmm. So I just have fun. It's a fun thing, especially if you're passionate about learning languages and you're learning
Mm-hmm.
about cultures and stuff like that. Like I said, with having a political science degree and a sociology minor, like I obviously love people. I love
Mm-hmm.
to hear how they think and why they think the way they think and all this other stuff. So learning languages to me was almost like it was almost the natural progression of things for me.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I grew up around a lot of people, different kind of people from everywhere, and I was just always very fascinated. And I have this corny, really cool Nelson Mandela quote. It's like, if you can, it's if you the person doesn't speak English and you can speak to them by saying hello in their language, it just shows like togetherness and aptitude. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing this, but
It's
it was
okay with that,
that
yeah.
but that quote in general, it's like, how many times have you gone into a country and you literally just, you say hi and thank you in whatever language you're saying. These people are like, oh my goodness, that is so cool that you did it.
Right.
Obviously it's the bare minimum, but it's all right. But you tried, you go to Japan and you can say konnichiwa. Like, people are looking at you like, oh, okay. Like, that's, and you say, thank you, kamsahamnida. Like, that's just one of those things where it's like, it means a lot to the people when you can do that. So all that to say is, have fun. Don't take it too serious. Just have some fun.
Okay. Well, those were some good tips. I really like to have fun. I think you're the first person to say have fun. And that's what it's all about. We sometimes get so overwhelmed and we stressing our stuff, and it's like, for why? You don't have a deadline. You're the only one you have to learn this language for.
Mm-hmm.
So I really appreciate the fact that you said, have fun, because we should be having fun.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Well, my last final question is, how can we keep up with you on social? Can we keep up with you on social? Are you incognito? What are you doing? What's going on?
Well, you can find me mostly active on Instagram and on Twitter. My
Mm-hmm.
Instagram is Coco_chic, CHIC Bell, BELLE.
Mm-hmm.
And then my Twitter is chic_Coco Bell. Don't ask me why. That was the only usernames available the same way. So
Oh
I
my
had to
God.
invert some stuff. But that's where you'll find me. Facebook, I'm not. No. I go through periods where I deactivate Facebook for about 2 months and then I go back on, peep in, and then sign back out. So
I don't blame you.
yeah, but if anything, check me out on my IG and my Twitter. And then obviously, What's the Chinese Tea, available on Apple, Spotify,
Yes.
Anchor, and Pandora.
All right. And I'll put all that in the description box below as well. So thank you, or wait. Merci beaucoup, ma chouchoute, pour visiter, et gracias por venir,
Mm-hmm.
mi vida. And that's it. That's the only languages I know that you know. Everything else is thank you so much for coming.
De rien. You're welcome in Spanish is
De nada, de rien.
de nada, and bouillonshi, which is you're welcome in Chinese.
Uh-huh. Okay, thank you so much. All right, well, that's it. signing off. Thank you guys. If you guys liked it, hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. And see you in the next
Thumbs
video.
up. Thumbs up.
Thumbs up. Oh yeah, thumbs up if you liked it. And then ask any other questions that you want to see me ask the next person that comes on the interview.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so thumbs up. Thank you. I always forget that. All right, see you next time. Besitos. Language Bay.